This is Lumi, a black and white cat, barely 8 months old. His story begins on the streets of Pachiamos, a small coastal town in Cyprus. And what you're about to hear is the journey of a cat, from street fights to a sofa seat. Pachiamos, a place of sun, sea, and narrow alleys. But for a little cat like Lumi, it was above all a place of survival. His days began with a search for food. He wandered through gardens, hidden corners, always hoping for a piece of bread, a leftover fish, or some cat food. Other cats were rivals. There were fights, hissing encounters in the night. And yet, Lumi remained gentle, curious, brave, and vulnerable. A little fighter, trying each day to find a scrap of safety. No one could have guessed back then that this cat would soon capture 2 hearts. It was a warm summer evening in June. Ina and her husband were on vacation in Cyprus. The scent of fried halloumi cheese filled the air, and as so often happens when food is near, they weren't alone for long. Cats appeared one by one from the neighborhood. But one was different, a black and white cat, curious and unusually trusting. He brushed against Ina's legs, looking up at her with eyes both pleading and trusting. They put out bowls of food, and Lumi was immediately there. And then he did something Ina didn't expect. He stayed. He lay down in the garden as if he had always belonged there. "You know what?" her husband said. "Let's call him Lumi, after the cheese from tonight." And so, the little stray received a name. And a name is often the first step toward becoming more than just a stranger. From that evening on, it was as if Lumi had decided, "This is where I belong." He came every day, stayed overnight. Sometimes they heard fights outside, but Lumi bravely defended what he had been given. Ina soon put out several bowls. In the mornings, they were empty, a silent sign of how great the need was. But Lumi was different. He didn't just come to eat, he curled up against Ina's legs, letting himself be petted for hours. His claws always stayed retracted. Never a bite, never a scratch, only gentleness. Ina felt it. This little cat had chosen her. But the vacation was ending. The suitcases were ready, and in Ina's heart grew the worry. What will happen to Lumi when we leave? She couldn't forget him. His eyes, his trust, it stayed with her. It wasn't the end, it was just the beginning. Back in Germany, Ina could not forget Lumi. She looked for a way to save him, so she wrote a message, a plea for help. In it, she described Lumi, told of those days in Pachiamos, and asked if there was any way to bring him to Germany. Her words were filled with worry and with hope. "I set out to search for him." Driving through the narrow streets and alleys of Pachiamos, always with the question, "Will I find him?" But the first attempt ended without success. Shrugs in the alleys, no one felt responsible. Driving down the road toward the sea, bushes on both sides, possible hiding places anywhere cats could appear. Then the parallel road right along the shore. The alleys were quiet, only the sound of waves in the distance. But Lumi was nowhere to be seen. Finally, I turned back, up toward the main road. It was like driving in a circle, and in the end I stood again before the villa where Ina and her husband had spent their holiday. But Lumi was not there. The first attempt had failed. Evenings grew longer, and with each minute the worry grew. Would he survive? But Ina did not give up. She wrote again, telling me how much she missed him, how he had captured her heart. On the second try, neighbors who recognized him, cats emerged from hiding. And just when giving up seemed reasonable, Lumi appeared. I shot a short video, sent it to Ina with only one question. Is this him? Her reply came without hesitation. Yes, that's really Lumi. Lumi was caught safely, the trap closed, and with it, a new future. Ina was relieved. Her cat was alive. He was found. And if Lumi's story has touched you so far, show us. Leave a like and tell us in the comments if you've ever rescued or adopted an animal, because every story matters. The next stop was the vet, an important step for Lumi. There he was examined, vaccinated, microchipped, and neutered, making sure he was healthy and ready for a safe new life. At the vet, it became clear Lumi was healthy. He received his vaccinations, was neutered, microchipped. A little fighter, ready for a big journey. But then came the waiting. A flight escort was needed. Shared over 1,000 times, yet no one volunteered. Ina waited. Longing, hope, patience. Love knows no borders, not even the ones between two countries. Only a few airlines on the Cyprus-Germany route take pets, and not every traveler wants that responsibility. That's why giving rescued cats like Lumi a safe home is often far from easy. And so Ina made a plan. If no one would bring Lumi, she would go get him herself. A flight with a transfer. Out in the morning, back in the evening. For one single purpose, to bring Lumi home. Love doesn't ask about effort. It only asks, is it worth it? And Ina's answer was clear. Yes, always. The day came. Ina flew to Cyprus and returned with Lumi. For the first time, he set his paws on the floor of his new home. No cold stone, no fights, only warmth, food, love, from street fights to a sofa seat. Lumi had finally arrived. Lumi's story shows us, sometimes it only takes a single encounter to change a life forever. Not all street cats are this lucky. Many are still waiting, nameless, hungry, alone. But anyone can make a difference, just like Ina did. If Lumi's journey has touched you, then leave a like. Subscribe to the channel and share your story in the comments. Have you ever rescued or adopted an animal? We'd love to hear it, because every story proves no animal is too small to deserve great love. Today, Lumi lies on his sofa seat, safe, loved, finally home. And maybe your like, your comment, or your adoption will start the next story. A story like Lumi's, from street fights to a sofa seat.